viewers, and welcome to another episode of Deeper Conversations. Welcome. We are glad to have you. I'm your host, Zipporah Gachuche. This is the show where we discuss and have talks that are empowering, that build, that enlighten, and bring information that is of good value to you as a viewer. So without much ado, I would want to invite my guest today, and looking forward to a very, very interesting discussion this day. So Charity, you're most welcome. Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Zipporah, for having me.
Yes.
Hello, viewers. My name is Charity Mwangi. I am a financial consultant. I help individuals transform their financial journey. Those who are in financial struggles, we work together and transform into financial freedom. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Charity, also for honoring the request to join us.
Yeah.
And considering that money has become, I don't know whether to call it a thorny issue in people's lives. I'm sure being in that space, in that industry of, financial assistance and all that, I'm sure you've been able to see so much, especially in the current economy that we are in right now. So I would want us to start the conversation. Tell us briefly about yourself, your journey, who you are, so that we can also now understand who it is we are talking to.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you work? Where has your experience been? Yeah.
Okay. My journey started in 2010 when I joined a financial institution, that's a cooperative society. And I've actually been in the cooperative society movement for all my career, employment life. Yeah, so that's where I started, and that's where I encountered with dealing with money, helping people manage money, helping people with credit and debt, helping people make the right decisions financially. Yeah. So I've been in that industry for over 12 years.
Awesome.
Yeah, until early or late 2021 to early 2022, when I left the employment sector. And I started the consultancy. Yeah, so that's where now I've been able to interact with, apart from individuals, also businesses that also want to understand how should they keep their financial accounts and financial records well, and ensure there is profitability, and when do they need to take loans to boost their businesses and all that. So I've seen all kind of stories, all kinds of struggles with Kenyans and businesses in Kenya concerning money, concerning debt, concerning how to be financially free, how to work debt-free, how to manage the debt that is they already have. Yeah, so that is my history, and I've my interactions have really given me the experience on how to deal with different situations, with different cases.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I like that. I like that because I know for many Kenyans, that is almost a vital necessity. Just the information to understand. How do I, first of all, take this is what I have, how do I multiply these 10 shillings and make it 100 without getting into trouble?
Oh, yes.
And that is information. I think the way, we have, the nature of money or handling money, rather, is where, for example, we have understood it to be quite simple. It's only when you get into the trouble of debt, then you realize, my God, this thing is a lot more complex than I thought. And, even to start with an example, I remember, like, when, we had pay slips. You get into employment, you get a pay slip, and the people who call you the first are these people offering you debt? But it sounds so good, you know. And maybe this is the time you are thinking, oh my, I can actually be able to do this. I can be able to have the car I've always dreamt of. I can be so, and suddenly you're in this quagmire, because it's like the payslip has also put you in a situation where you are meat,
Yes.
you know, for somebody else,
Yeah.
or an institution actually who are looking for somebody with consistent, and I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because again, is there a good way of is there anything like good debt? Let's start there. Is there anything like good debt?
Yes, absolutely. There is good debt and bad debt. But
Yes.
let me start from here. Most people, like you're saying,
Yeah.
they get themselves in those situations of money and all that, because some are not, it's not like that they are just reckless. Some don't have the information, the financial knowledge to understand that before I take a debt, that I need to have a plan. Okay.
We were not taught that.
Yes.
Nobody told us that.
Yes, sure. And actually in Kenya, even me who have not registered for some of these mobile loans apps, I receive messages telling me, by the way, do you know it's mid-month?
Yeah,
You
and we
get
can
this.
help.
You can be helped over
Yes.
here. You don't need to struggle. It's schools are opening. You don't need to struggle. But you see, when you have a plan and you have a focus, you'll not be swayed by those advertisements. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've asked about good debts. Yes, there are good debts and there are bad debts. Good debts are those ones that you take to create an asset which will bring income. Okay. Yeah, those are good debts. An example is you've taken a loan to start a business, which you've already done your feasibility study, and you know it's going to
likelihood of
be
it succeeding.
profitable. Yeah. So that means this debt that you're taking, you know, some money will come back and repay it. Okay.
Okay.
So that's a good debt. Another good debt is when you take a loan maybe to buy a property that will bring income. For example, you buy a rental property, or you buy you put up an Airbnb. So meaning that property or that asset will bring back some income.
So there's money coming in
Yes,
to repay.
to repay the loan.
Okay.
So another one will be if you take a loan for school fees, or maybe a coaching program. So you know when you go to school after you're done, you'll get a pay rise. So that is building your it's building your financial freedom, because now you know there's extra money that will come. Or maybe it's a coaching program that you know after this period I will be empowered to bring more income. So those are good debts. But we also have bad debts.
The bad debt.
And so many people get trapped in these bad debts, thinking that they are needs and there are things that they need to have, but no. For example, you should not be taking a loan to go on holiday. That's something that you should be planning for. A holiday is not an emergency. So you know maybe you want to go on holiday in December or April or whatever month. So that's something. Holiday si ya kujitokelezea.
Friends can come and tell me, oh Zippy, let's say there's something happening out of town. Twende.
Now that's peer pressure, which we should not. If you're in a journey of financial freedom, you should not bow to the peer pressure. So holiday should never be something to take a loan for. Personal expenses should not be something to take, because you know they are there. You know you need to pay house rent, you need to pay water bills, electricity, and all that. So there are good debts and bad debts.
Okay. Charity.
Yes.
That is information. Come down now to the reality. And this is where we are at. And we have, you know, the reality on the ground is this is where we are at as Kenya, or as Kenyan people. Most people, we know the economy is not doing so well, or so we are told. Yeah. So I also keep wondering, but there's so much money, like when you hear stories of money, these billions have been stolen here, billions are disappearing here. And I keep wondering, so where is it going? And how is it that it is not translating to a vibrant economy where we can hear at least everybody is well settled? And I'm presuming also that is where a lot of people are getting trapped in debt, because actually hata ukiniambia debt mbaya, if I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And if somebody sends me a text and tells me, oh, this app itakupatia ka 2,000 right now, and maybe I have no clue where supper is coming from, I will take the 2,000, tutajua vile italipo baadaye. I think that is the normal operation of most people who actually get caught up in this, especially the mobile loan apps, which have become a nightmare for most people and very easy to take. Unakuta mtu atakona 5, 6, 7 of those. Sasa it is the repaying now that is the issue. And we even hear people who they prefer to throw away the SIM card. Unaweka SIM card kaingine
not to be followed.
And life continues. But so if for somebody who's been caught up in this situation, because that is the reality, for most people actually, and not just mobile loan apps, we have people who take loans, and you've taken from this bank and another, especially your payslip inaletanga mambo, because with a payslip you can take here, then take here, and then take there. Then now you're in a situation. Now, how do I get out of that space? Or then how do I manage even that space? Beyond throwing away my SIM card.
Yes. So let me say, debt is not the problem.
It's not the debt.
The problem is lack of planning. The problem is excessive spending. Okay? So if you find yourself in this space that you have like 7 loans, maybe 3 mobile loans, you have a bank loan, you have a Shylock loan, you have a Sacco loan. So the first thing, if you're willing and if you want to walk into this financial freedom journey, you must first face the reality. Face the reality of, I'm in this space, I'm trapped in debt, and I need to get out. So you need to list all your debts if you really want to get out.
Yes,
list all your debts. Okay. After you've listed all the debts, create a plan of how you're going to repay them and clear them. Okay. Number 1, as you create that plan, you need to live within your means. Most people don't live within their means. They live based on how is Zipporah, what is Zipporah driving, what is she wearing. So I need also to wear the same. I need that too. I need that too. But you don't know Zipporah's state of financial, wealth. So you need, first of all, to live within your means. Okay? Cut out the expenses that you don't need. Then once you list your loans, then you need to have a strategy on how you need to clear. There are 2 concepts or strategies. There's one called the debt snowball and another one called the debt avalanche. So I'll explain the 2. Debt snowball is where you, after you've listed all your loans, then you start with the smallest. You have a 5K mobile loan, you have a 15K another mobile loan, then you have a 20K Shylock loan, you have a 100K Sacco loan, and maybe 900K bank loan, for example. So you start with a small one. With that, you're able to motivate yourself and you celebrate the win. Oh, I've cleared this one. And as you clear, you're left with more cash flow that will help you clear the other loans quickly. And that's how you get out of debt. Okay? And then once you start that journey, please don't go back to unnecessary debts. Okay? Because now you'll go back to the same cycle, the same trap, that you were there in before. So planning has to come in. Planning and intentionality that I want to get out. I don't want this cycle. I want to get out. I want my pay slip. You know, there are people whose pay slip, you know, the government has deducted its dues. Maybe you have other check of loans like bank or SACCO. And then the amount that you receive,
advance loan ulichukua.
Then the amount that you receive in your bank, it disappears
they
within
also
seconds.
Do their thing on their side.
Or maybe you have a Shylock. You know, Shylock will not go through check off.
Yeah.
Or you have a debt with your plumber. He came, repaired your sink, but you couldn't pay because so you withdraw everything, and within seconds
and finish it.
The salary is gone.
I think
so there has to be an intentionality.
That intentionality, because for most people, the getting into debt, like you have said, is because, okay, I've seen something I want. Or people are buying land, or even me, I want to buy. Or charity, you know, is driving this, or, you know, that peer pressure you're talking. I also want to be like. So when you say what you don't need, cut off what you don't need, what is it? You know, because for some people, a car is a necessity. You get? Living in a certain area is an absolute necessity. It is non-negotiable, even though it might be beyond my means. Maybe it defines who I am. So when you say need, you break it down.
Number one, I think we should be working towards building wealth and not building a lifestyle. So if you say I need to be in a certain neighborhood,
that is a lifestyle,
so that I can level up with my peers and my friends and my high school mates, so that we can be seen in the same level.
Then when I invite them, they need to come to a certain aura, a certain space,
a certain address.
It's important.
Yeah, but you'll not be true to yourself, because these people, maybe they have different incomes, maybe they are also living in debt to impress. But why should you be influenced by peer pressure instead of building your wealth, so that if your goal is that neighborhood, then you build your wealth towards living there, and you'll be living there with peace. You know, you'll have the financial peace that, these bills I can manage and all that. So we should not live based on the peer pressure and building lifestyles that we cannot sustain. That will not give us financial peace. And even emotional peace, because you're thinking this place, maybe it has service charge of whatever amount, yet I can live in another place that has lesser bills, but the most, you know, it's secure. If this other place is secure and this other is secure, so why do you need to match up with, you know?
I like what you've said. So there is building a lifestyle, and there is also building wealth. But now it can, but one, it's up into the other. Chances are, if you're intentional about building wealth, you may have to compromise a bit or a lot on building the lifestyle. And that also means you deciding for yourself whether it is an image that is important or building wealth for the future that is important right now. And I know for most people, even for me, I can answer. If you ask me that question, of course, building the wealth is what is important. It is the journey now of the reality of that, okay, I need to sacrifice this for now so that I can be able to afford and live comfortably in the future. So, you know, then that also boils down to the personal character, your personal intention of what it is, your goals, that you know, you purpose, this is what I want.
Yes.
But
yeah.
you have to be true, like you have said.
Yes.
To
yes,
that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
But now talk to us. Okay. You have said, now I am in this situation. And I am in this debt, and we have seen, like, now people are, you know, the job cuts and everything, and even salary cuts that are happening. But when somebody finds themselves, you're in debt, and wherever it is you are relying on, you could even have made a very sober decision. I have taken a loan, I want to build or to invest in something. Whatever it is I was investing in maybe did not materialize as I had hoped, because also that requires a level, business also requires a level of understanding.
Yeah.
And wherever it is, maybe I had taken that based on the payslip. And then something happens, and then now the payslip has disappeared.
Yeah.
Now, besides me now going to borrow now from a Shylock or somebody who will not ask me now, you know, because the debt still has to be paid. So then when someone is caught in this kind of, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's unfortunate because sometimes some things happen that they're beyond our control. Like the recent job losses, you know, you don't expect such things to happen. Maybe you've worked in this place for over 10 years and all of a sudden you're told
things have happened.
Yeah, things have happened. So that's where the emergency fund comes in. Okay. I talked about intentionality and building wealth.
Yes.
In addition to that, it's very important to build an emergency fund.
So that's something else I should be having on the side also.
Yes. As you are managing your debts, ensure you also have an emergency fund. What's the role of this emergency fund? So, for example, if you lose your job, okay, for an emergency fund is you put aside some money. You can save on a monthly basis or whatever periodical.
Whatever amount I'm comfortable with. Kidogo kidogo too.
Yes, but you need to cover 3 to 6 months or even more if you're able to, of your monthly expenses. So you
including the debt.
Yes. So your monthly expenses includes your household expenses, rent and all that. Includes your transport, your food. If you have a debt you're paying,
all that.
Include there.
Yes.
So in total, let's say if all your expenses for a month is 50K, then on the minimum you should have 3 months. So you should have saved 150K or 6 months and beyond. If you have more than 6 months, the better. So when you have that, at least you'll have some peace, even if, let's say, you've lost your job.
For you to plan,
for you to plan.
Gives you time.
Yes.
For you to plan and decide without getting into panic mode.
Exactly.
And wondering now what next. What do I sell?
What do I eat, or do I look for money for debts, you know? So you'll have covered that. And also, I also advise my clients, don't run away from your lender. Please go. Even them, they might know that you have lost a job. Just go and tell them, by the way, just give me a grace period of 3 months or 6 months. Let me plan myself. I'll be back and repay and continue repaying my loan. Having worked in the financial sector and circles, I found myself giving that grace period to the people who came and told me, Charity, please give me, my business is not doing well or my salary is over. Please give me 2 months. I would always listen to them, and they will not get all these notices, your defaults and all that. But some people choose to just disappear.
Without knowing, because they also don't know that maybe there's that option. Or
so when you send the notices for default, then that's when they come and tell you, oh, I lost my job, or the business. Always go before. Always go before, so that your lender is, you'll get in those those seats you'll find human beings and they'll listen to you.
We'll take a short break. And our viewers, please don't go away. We are taking a short break, and then we can come back and continue with this very insightful discussion as we look deeper into the conversation of how do I handle debt? What do I do? I'm in this situation. How do I handle my finances to ensure that I have peace and I can sleep well with whatever it is that I have? We'll see you in a bit. Thank you. And welcome back, viewers, and welcome to this discussion about debt management and financial literacy. So we get back to our discussion with our guest, Charity. So far we've had very good insights into how to manage debt and you know, what to do when you find yourself in that space. So maybe we can just go back to the discussion and look at the possibility of being financially wealthy without being in debt. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely, it's a possibility. And I'll go back to planning and writing down your goals. You see, when you've written down your goals and say maybe, for example, I want to buy land, I want to go back to school, I want to do 1, 2, 3, I want to start a business. When you start from there, then the next step is see how you can manage your finances, okay? So you can work with what you already have. Like starting a business, there are businesses that you can start with even 1,000 and all that, yeah? And when you plan your finances, you can easily live without a debt. And even if you need a debt, then you're in the right conscience that this debt is for this thing, which will bring me more income, that will help me grow my wealth and get me out of debt. So it's a cycle that you should be aware of and follow it. So yeah, and then of course avoid unnecessary debts. There are things that are not emergencies that people term as emergency.
Yes. Yeah. So the impulsive buying also.
Yes. Yeah.
Which has become because there's always something calling for my attention.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
telling me, okay, buy me, get me, you know? Even including small things. I can be walking in town, I get hungry. And I decide, okay, I will walk into a restaurant and eat. But maybe because of the tightness of that budget, depending on what I choose to eat, it also sets me on a certain path. And if I do that twice, thrice, 4 times, now again everything is.
Yeah.
So again we go back to what you're saying. I think what I'm hearing is the intentionality, and not for a day, not for 2 days.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle, it's a lifestyle.
You need to make planning a lifestyle, which is for most people, I think, is ata nobody ever taught us about planning. It's you get money, you do what you need to do. Yeah, so which one comes first? Because there is where now I have received my money. What do I do first? Do I pay my debts first? Do I cater for my needs first? Which one comes first?
Now, before even you receive that money, that salary, that income from business, there's something called a budget, which people look at it like it's a prison you're putting yourself into, but it is not. A budget is simply listing down your expenses and listing down your incomes. Maybe you have a salary, but you have a side hustle or a business. So you list the two down. And if my expenses are coming to 80,000 and my income is coming to 60, there is a problem.
Then I borrow 20.
Yes, you will end up borrowing 20 and you end up in that cycle.
In a cycle.
And it will end up being a trap, okay? So the first thing, even before you receive that income, that paycheck, list down your expenses. And you know your house is this much, your water bill, your electricity, your this. And then list down your income. So for example, if your income is 50,000, your expenses are coming to 80,000. So what can you
What
get
do I
through?
need to get
Yeah.
rid of?
Yeah. Is it internet? Can you live without internet in your house? Can you live without Netflix? Can you live without, I don't know, maybe something else? Can you even do your own hair at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you, what else? Yeah, do your hair at home. Can you clean for
Yeah.
yourself if
Yeah.
part of that, of the expenses is cleaning expenses
Yeah.
that you pay someone else?
Yeah.
Can you cook your own food so that you carry to work? So that you reduce that budget of that expense of buying lunch every
Yeah.
other day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
interestingly, by the way, someone said, and I proved it to be right, never go to a supermarket when you're hungry. You'll overbuy.
Very true. Very
You'll
true.
buy things.
When you get home,
Yes.
you're like, what was all that?
What was all this?
Yeah.
But when you've eaten, now you're going to a supermarket.
Yeah.
By then you'll just pick all that
What
you
is
want.
necessary.
Yeah, what is necessary. You'll not pick those to chocolates, to sweets,
Yeah.
to nini, sijui extra bread, sijui what. Yeah. So a budget is very important, even before you receive that check. And that will guide you
Yeah.
into what you need to cut. We need to live within our means.
You know, Charity, these things, you know, we hear. I think it's only when somebody gets into a situation
Yeah.
that they realize what is actually a necessity, what you could have done away with and still survived. Imagine you didn't die.
Yeah.
So, and I know even for my own personal case, I can even use my own personal experience because, you know, there's a time maybe also because of the environment you're in, things like going to the salon and doing your nails and doing this and doing that, they are projected even to you as a necessity.
Yes.
You know. So, but even for me, when later on I realized, okay, I got off the corporate scene, and now I was, you know, I had time to myself. And so I started doing a lot of these things for myself. You know, I can do my own nails, I can my own hair,
Yeah.
I'll cook my own food, and I'll not be going to any salon or restaurant.
Yes.
If I need to go, I'll move when it is necessary.
Yes.
Not go because, you know,
Yeah.
the house is feeling a bit tight. You know, sometimes you just want. And suddenly, when I started cutting down on those, they looked minor, they looked small. But I realized, wow, you know, it's quite a chunk that comes off your budget that goes to this thing that you can actually do for yourself. And it also goes now to clearing the debts.
Yeah.
And I realized, oh wow, with time
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
the debt was coming down, and I had a much more peaceful life.
Exactly.
So I concur with what you're saying. From my own personal experience, I have seen
and
it.
like I've been repeating, it's intentionality.
It has to be very
You
intentional.
have to be very intentional.
Yeah, yeah.
Such that if you're always being seen in these high joints taking lunch, you choose that
Yeah.
from now on,
Yeah.
I'll be having my lunch. I'll
Yeah.
be carrying my lunch from home.
Yeah.
And with that, you'll be saving at the end of the month.
Some proper money,
You
by
might be
the way.
saving thousands,
Some proper
10,000,
money,
which
yeah.
can go to something else. Even
Yeah.
starting a business, which will
Yes.
bring more income.
Now more income starts to
Yes,
come
yeah.
in. And also the fact that you also make a decision, a very
Yes.
personal decision,
Yes.
that you will also become your own person without being influenced by other people's opinions, other people's, you know, if all of us look a certain way,
Yeah.
and I also have to look a certain way,
Yeah.
it really takes a strong spirit to decide, okay, for now, I'll pay this price
Yeah.
and be my own person as I pursue
Yes.
what you're saying.
Yes.
Financial freedom,
Yes.
clearing of the debts, and even building wealth now. And you know the surprising thing, after you go through it a while, it actually becomes your lifestyle.
Kabisa.
Now
Yes.
again, you don't want to go back
Yeah.
to that space of, why would I want to go back
Yes.
to that space where, you know, of being called every now and then. And,
Because you get the financial peace.
yes,
No
yes,
one is
yes.
chasing you. And you know, financial peace is not about what you earn. It's how you manage what you have.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people who earn over half an M to 800K.
Yeah.
But in this debt trap, you won't believe
Yeah.
that almost every month they are getting a loan of 50K. Someone earning 800K should not be
50,000
getting a loan of
yeah.
50,000.
Yeah, yeah.
That is money that he should be going to his savings and withdraw,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Yeah, yeah,
But I've also seen people who earn 50K,
yeah.
but
They are
their
doing
plan
amazing. Yeah.
financially is so good.
Yeah, yeah.
I really admire them.
I
You know?
agree. Yes.
Yeah.
And I have also seen, people who start a business maybe with 3,000, 4,000 shillings, but because of what you're saying, proper planning
Yes.
and keeping off unnecessary expenses so that the money is able to come back,
Yeah.
and you see that business grow from this to that,
Exactly.
exponentially.
Yeah.
And you'll still see another business that has been started maybe with 1 million shillings
And it's stuck.
and it's completely stuck.
Yes.
So it is not really about making more that will get you out of the debt situation. It is now how you
You
yourself
manage
as a person,
what you have.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you start with what you have, manage it,
Yeah.
and it will grow as you progress. Yes.
These are things that unfortunately for most of us we learn through experience. And I used to wonder, how come some people have this information and some don't have? Is it a matter of how you're brought up? And I'm asking that because I'm wondering, should we then be training our children or in things like managing finances, to prepare them so that they don't get into this kind of situations? Is it a lack of information? Because most people learn this kind of thing either when it is too late or through an experience.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying. You've worked hard or you've built a business, you have good money, you're making 800,000, but you still are not
Yeah.
financially free.
Yeah.
You're still stressed up.
Yeah.
You're still in a trap. So is the lack of information, or rather the getting of the information, where should it start?
Like you said, it should start when those kids are small. Teach them about money. Teach them about budgeting, so that they understand. They don't just come to you and say, Mommy, I want this, buy me this.
And I give.
You can tell them, we had not budgeted for that this month. Let's see, in 3 months' time, we'll have saved some money to get you that, okay? And when they understand about money and planning, and you don't have to get whatever you need now.
Yeah.
And you can wait. Those kids, when they grow up, they'll be better financial managers of their own personal finances, because they'll understand that they can wait for something, provided something is not an emergency and it's not a need that you must have it at this point. Then you can wait and plan for it. Okay, so it starts with the children. It's very, very important for parents to teach their children on financial management. Give them some cash, give them 100 bob, and tell them, I've given you this money, so it's for you to plan what do you want to do with it.
But by then you have also taught them, maybe even the art of saving.
Oh yes,
You tell them, out of every 100 shillings I give you,
you need to save this
20
much.
shillings needs to go to the piggy bank or something. And so that you inculcate a culture within them.
Yes.
That okay.
But also, but also, you see, when children are also raised in different backgrounds. When they are raised by parents who are extravagant and they buy whatever they get at that point. It might be the parents are wealthy, but you see, that's the life of the parents. This kid will grow up to be their own person. They'll grow up, get a job or business, and if they don't understand that maybe their parents were wealthy, they could do all that, but for them they don't have all that money. They'll end up spending and spending, getting into debt to live this lifestyle that they saw, and they'll end up in a trap that maybe they didn't see their parents, or their parents, they were in that trap but they didn't show it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so it's very important to intentionally teach the children these financial and money matters and how to plan and all that. Okay,
so now, you know, there's also another, you have said it, because now this child has been brought up in a certain environment, a certain way, where they see, you know, money being spent. But now, they have not been taught the art of making that money.
Yeah.
So which one should it be? Because the child can see money, but should they also learn the art of making the money, where now you introduce them to work early in advance, and like you're saying, delayed gratification, where you tell them, okay, you want to drive a Mercedes, but then you have to plan for it, you have to save for it, you have to work
for it.
Yes. Because there is also the scenario where, okay, this is what I see, then I get. And you know, that also becomes a situation, let me not call it a problem, because that is the normal that child grows up with.
Yeah.
So even if you tell that child, move from that to lower, that is their low.
Yes. Yes.
That is now their low.
Yeah.
And that is their reality. So they have no way of processing anything lower. So I think also maybe you can just
the other lesson is showing them. I know when we were growing up, that didn't happen. It was, money was almost like a secret. What does your dad do, your mom do? But it's good also to show the children that we work to get this money. This is what we do. If you don't go to work or go to open that business, if you don't work hard, so that they don't assume that money just comes, okay? They understand that money takes effort. You have to work for it. You have to be diligent. You have to sacrifice sometimes sleep. You don't sleep all the way to 10 a.m. You wake up early and go to that business. You know, when they understand that, even when they grow, they'll know that if I need this thing, I need to work for it.
Yeah. I don't go to the bank and ask for a loan and then not know how I will pay for it.
Yeah, you need to work for it. You need to make a plan. You need to plan your finances so that you can afford whatever you need. Yeah.
Now, there's, okay, that is something I think we are also learning, you know, with time. And, you know, even from my own personal observation, I've seen scenarios where, you know, I've seen the difference between children who grow up with parents who are in business, because it's easy. If I run a business, if I run a kiosk, for example, it's easy for me to take my child in the morning to that kiosk. When I'm opening, they see the struggle, they see me trying to balance the money. Should I buy now this or that? Should I pay this debt? Should I, you know, they'll be there seeing maybe the landlord coming, or you know, and the people coming for their money. They are seeing how I am managing the whole thing of business. How maybe I'm managing the clients, you know, and they start to pick up on that, on the culture of work. We've seen that especially with the Indian families. By the time a child is 16, you can literally leave them the business and go, and they'll be okay. And they grow up knowing work. Now we have scenarios where I am employed. I'm in somebody's office. I can't take my child to work. So what do? I go to work, but I'll leave my child in the house. At what point now are they learning now the culture of work, the culture of financial management? I come back in the evening, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I even give them something to keep them busy, you know, anything. Even give them a little money, go to the mall or do something, you know, maybe also to give me the space to be able to rest. And I have seen it in real life, the difference between these two scenarios, where one kind of person will grow up with some level of financial literacy, some level of financial discipline, with some level of, you know, the process of work for them is not a punishment, is not confusing. And this other, that, you know, the parent worked to make sure they have everything that they need, and they got. So the price has been paid. But how it was paid was not, yes.
Yeah.
And then now, when that child now, you know, is in a situation, debt becomes an easy way out. Not realizing that also debt requires, like now you're saying, planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think even if the parents, maybe they are going to an office, someone else's office, those conversations should be there, okay? And let them know, of course, based on the age as they grow, you give them more information.
Yeah.
But let them know that this is where I work,
Yeah.
this is what I do. You will know how to explain to different ages.
Yeah.
And because of what I do,
Yeah.
actually, I'm also in business. You know, even if you're employed, it's a business transaction.
Oh, yeah.
You're selling your skills and your time to your employer, and he's paying you for it. So it's also a transaction.
Yeah. You make them understand that this is also another form.
Yeah, it's also another form of business and transaction.
Yeah.
This is what I do for my employer.
Yeah.
And in turn, they give me a salary or the check at the end of the month. So it's about, you still have to talk to the children and let them know that when a bike comes from my mom, it didn't just...
There was a price.
There was a price.
That was paid.
Yes. There was a price that was paid.
Yeah, I love that. So maybe just as we wind up, is there anything like too much debt?
Yes.
Can you get into a situation now where I don't want to call it irredeemable, because there is no situation that has no solution.
Yeah.
But is there anything like too much debt?
Yeah, definitely. There's too much debt. As a good rule of thumb, you should not be paying more than 30% of your income to debt. Okay? So even 30% is quite high.
So that I'm left with 70.
And you know it's not 70 because government takes
After
almost 30.
And now they're taking quite a bit.
Yeah, so let's say your gross is 100,000. Government and everything will come to almost 30,000 or there 25 to 30,000.
Yeah, and the higher you go, the more.
Yes, the higher you go, the more. Yeah. So then you have maybe another debt that you're paying. Yeah. Let's say if you have another 30,000, what are you left with? With around 30,000 or 35 to 40. So what will you do with such an amount? Then it means you have to really plan where you live. You have to plan your expenses. Yeah, the sacrifice, because now, that has to be you're left with 40K. That's what you have to plan.
It is not the 100.
It's not the 100. You can be saying, "Oh, me, I earn 100,000," but that's not what gets to your bank.
And when they are employing you, they tell you, "No, we are offering you a package of 100."
Yes,
until reality.
But 100 is not what gets to your pocket. Yes, it's less. So even 30%, it's quite high. Okay, so you can't, if you're paying debts of 30% and government has taken 30%, you can't live in a house of 20,000 or 25,000. Honestly, you see. So anything more than that, even that 30%, it's quite high. But also anything more than 30, you're in such a...
Now you're in a fix.
Yeah, you're in a fix. You need to work on maybe restructuring your debts, consolidating them, and getting a longer repayment period so that you pay less and your debt expenses become less.
Okay, thank you so much, Charity. I think we've had an awesome.
Oh, yes.
Great, insightful discussion. I loved it. So just in case somebody needs to reach out to you at a personal level, just to maybe you assist them further, where can they reach you?
Okay, I will give my contact.
Yes.
Okay, they can
And your
reach
company
me.
name, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my company is Radiant Growth Consultants. We are financial consultants. We deal with helping people get out of debt, financial coaching, tax issues, financial management, and all that, everything finance, business finance, and all that.
Excellent.
So you can get us on 0736 622 166. Okay, can repeat?
Yes, please.
0736 622 166, or our email, you can get us at enquiry@radiantconsulting.africa or radiantconsultingke@gmail.com. Those
Awesome.
two. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Charity, for sharing your wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and hopefully maybe we can do another show, another talk,
Yeah, sure.
where we can go deeper into this discussion regarding money.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
knowing that it is a sensitive issue to many people.
Yeah, and also money is important.
Yes,
Yes.
very important, actually,
Yes.
very, very important.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
And thank you, viewer, for being with us through the show. It is my hope and my trust that you've been able to gather some vital information that can also help you in your personal financial management and debt management. And should you need any further help, please feel free to reach out to Charity. We look forward to having you in our next show. Thank you.